parents were Edward and Marion Gottfried. Gottfried. And the kids used to say, "Oh, that's Peggy Gottfried." So, I was born in Bucyrus, Ohio,
What year?
1934.
All right.
That was a very good year.
You have a big birthday bash coming up this year then.
Oh, I know it.
Yay. So what was it like growing up in Bucyrus? What did your mom and dad do for a living?
Well, Dad always worked for the oil company, one oil company or another.
Okay.
And finally we moved to Toledo, Ohio, where he ended up working and retiring from the pure oil company. And Mother, she was more stay-at-home mother, but she went out to sang at different places. Years and years ago, when I was just tiny, she was a real good singer who played in the best places. And then later on in life, she sang wherever she could sing. Whether it was a neighborhood bar or whatever, she just loved to sing.
Yeah.
So, and I liked living in our little town of Cary, Ohio. And I had my little dog, Sammy, that I had for 14 years, who followed me every place I went. Took me to school every morning. I shouldn't say took me to school because he wasn't allowed to cross the road. But he would take me just to the end of my sidewalk, and then I would cross the road, and then he'd be waiting for me right across the street when I...
Aw, that's sweet.
Cute.
That is sweet. And your sister?
My sister Susie, she was 4 years younger, and I always took care of her like she was one of my children, you know. I'd take her by the hand, take her with me wherever I went if I could.
Yeah.
Mom wasn't too happy about me taking her across the street, but I did sometimes. But because I never paid too much attention to what I was told to do.
You were headstrong.
Yes, I was. Good thing I'm not that way anymore. How did I actually meet him? I don't know. Oh, yes, I do know. He was working on my dad's car. And he got a butch haircut, and he has a very small head, which made him look perfectly stupid. And Mother and Dad thought he was the nicest young man. And I can remember saying, "That jerk. Oh, Jimmy would like to take you out on a date." I said, "I am not going out on a date with that jerk." He always had oil all over him, you know, from working on cars. And that wasn't his job, working on cars, but he always did work on cars. Although he did work for a car dealership, but it wasn't his specific job, just to work on the cars. He'd repair them, but not get down and crawl under them and get full of oil. Anyhow, I thought he was a jerk. So after I told my mother I didn't want to go out with him, and she just thought I was a little brat for saying it. So I finally agreed to go out with him.
How old were you then?
Probably 17. Probably close to 18, actually. Maybe 17 and a half. And he was all cleaned up. He had a suit on. He actually looked like a human being. And so I decided he wasn't too bad after all. I would go out with him again.
How long did you date?
Oh, I would say close to a year.
Okay.
Before we got married.
Okay. So how many grandchildren do you have, and what are their names?
Well, your children are the biggest group of all, 4. We have Josh and Wade and Aaron, Olivia, and then, well, Claudia doesn't have any children, so that makes it easier for me to remember. And Jenny has 2 children, Fernandra and, God, I can't think of that. And Lynn, yes, poor little Lynn, she's the baby, so she gets forgotten sometimes.
So, how was it growing up with all of the grandchildren? Because you were a very important part of their lives.
They were the most precious children ever, because I could take care of them all day long if their mothers were going someplace, and then I could turn them back over to their mothers at the end of the day, which was wonderful.
Yes.
They were so much fun to take with us when we went on camping trips, and Wade was a handful sometimes, but he was funny, and Jim got the biggest kick out of him because he was a ornery little cuss, really, when he was little.
Yes, he was. I can attest to that one.
Yeah. But we had a lot of fun with him.
And tell us about Josh helping you.
Oh, Josh, oh, he was a perfect little angel. Absolutely perfect angel. And of course, he was my first grandchild, so he was the most special kid in the world. And anytime I could keep him overnight even, I thought, oh, it was wonderful, and he was the best little kid ever. I'm sure his wife feels the same way today, because he has to be the best husband ever. Yeah, he was always fun. He'd stand up on my dining room chair, my kitchen chair, while I was cooking, and just stand there and watch me and talk to me, and a little sweetheart.
Help make meatballs.
Oh yes, he helped make meatballs. You remember that?
That was
Told you
fun.
about that.
Yeah.
You know, he'd take his little hand, go like that, dude. Got the perfect little round meatball.
And the girls.
The girls were, of course, angels, and they would play under my dining room table. Of course, the tablecloth was a lace tablecloth that came practically down to the floor, so they loved to sit under there. It was their house and play.
Yeah.
They were precious.
They were.
Mhm.